Welcome back to the Dreadcast, one
Hello.
and all. This is episode 26, and it's finally time for some clown madness in Terrifier 2.
Yes.
Finally, Terrifier 2. We have it here.
We
on special
finally
Blu-ray. There we go,
got around
folks,
to
for the
seeing
viewers
it.
at home,
There
showing
it
it up
is.
there. We finally got around to seeing it. Oh, by the way, I'm Tom.
Yeah. I'm T.
Oh!
Nearly gave away
slipped up.
my name.
Nearly get. Yeah, now people will know who you are. Yes, welcome back to the Dreadcast. We're doing Terrifier 2 today. We ventured into that old London town to a rare viewing. Yeah, Prince Charles Cinema. Shout out to Prince Charles Cinema.
Charles, I guess.
No. It's Prince Charles Cinema.
Okay.
Fuck
Yes,
the royal.
we did.
Fuck the royal family.
We ventured in last Wednesday. Yes, last Wednesday. No. Yes, last Wednesday.
A week and a half ago. Yep.
Oh,
Into
week and a
that
half ago
there
on Wednesday.
that there London town.
That there London town, because it was the only showing at 9:15 at night that we could actually get round to watching.
Yeah,
Because,
there were.
as we've said multiple times, this film is just not available in the UK.
No,
Sadly.
there were a couple of other showings, but at like 2 p.m. and very
we can get to that.
random time to go see a film like this.
Well,
like a matinee,
the
a gore fest matinee.
the first one we wanted to go see was the Friday. It finally got released in the UK. We're like, let's go see it Friday.
Yeah.
At 2 p.m. No, I can't make that. It's
Yeah,
really weird time to
yeah.
have a horror film at 2 p.m. I don't think many
Yeah.
people go to see a horror film at that time.
And if
Well,
you're not
unless you do.
familiar with the Prince Charles Cinema in London, it's in Soho. It's a very niche cult like theatre. They'll basically show cult like films and some of the best films ever made. Basically films that you might not have been able to see in the theatre, say you were too young or they're before your time. They show them in the original format, like I saw the original Texas Chainsaw and 35mm a few years back. I saw Grindhouse there. It's awesome. They show The Thing a lot. There's so many classics that they'll
Thing
show
is a
that
great
films you wouldn't be able to see in the cinema, and you want the proper experience.
Mm.
Now, the thing with the Prince Charles is the first note I've got about Terrifier 2. It's not even about Terrifier 2. Before we get into
Was
the
this
film.
about the people we had with us?
Yeah. So the first thing on my
I thought it
notes
was.
is like cons. You know, you get pros and cons. I wanted to get the cons out of the way.
Okay.
Our theatre experience was rough, and that's because
Yes.
of
Yes, it was.
the sort of theatre it is. It's not like if you go to the cinema, you think, "Oh, I wonder what this film's like." No. Prince Charles Cinema is so cult-like that
Small.
fans of whatever film will go and see that film. So people didn't just up and decide, what's this Terrifier 2 about? No, they were hardcore fans. But some of them, my word.
Slightly annoying. Well, more than annoying. It was. They were either very drunk, or not very drunk. They were either.
I think they were
drunk,
high.
Or I reckon they were high.
I think they were
because
really high.
there are some comedic moments in Terrifier 2, and they were actually really good. Especially David Thornton as he was spot on with some of these comedic moments. But then there are other moments in this film where it's not supposed to be funny. I mean, a few times you were kind of like, that's so unrealistic. It's funny.
Yeah.
But then there were moments you're like, that's not funny, and yet these people were laughing so hard, you're sitting there going, it's not funny.
It was
Why are you laughing?
mad. It was absolutely mad. It was. They must have been high because you see stoner comedies from like the 2000s, and they portray people being stoned.
They'll laugh at anything.
Beavis and Butthead. That is what it's
Yes.
like. They will laugh at
It is pretty
anything,
much like
and
that.
we're sat there like, shrugging. How was that funny? Someone on the screen could have gone,
One,
I'll see you later on. What?
it was. We'll get to this, but I found it was especially. You could tell that they were. I mean, they were probably high as a kite.
I think they
Because
were,
there's a scene in this film which is the bedroom scene, and we'll get to it.
Oh,
because it's
we'll
probably
get to the
graphic
bedroom scene. Yeah.
And you could just hear them laughing, just sitting there going, if this was happening in front of you in real life, you would not laugh at this.
No.
I mean,
No.
I mean, I have some notes on it. the scene is a little bit over the top. It's got to be said.
Oh, over the top.
But even then, you're sitting there going, it's not funny. Though. It's not supposed to be funny.
No, it's not. Just because he's laughing.
Hear these idiots laughing their heads off. Yeah.
You want to get immersed into. I personally always want to get immersed into horror film.
Yes. I think time went quickly. I felt when we saw it. I must admit, time went very quickly, which is good because this is a super long horror film. It's weirdly long.
Yeah, that's my next note.
It's 2 hours. I think it's 2 hours 10 minutes, but we were in there for about 2 hours 20, which quite frankly is for a horror film is way too long in my opinion. I think we said this. I think you, I, and Nick said this when we came out. It's the first thing we all said was that it was like that was too long. It was way too long.
Yeah, it could have easily been trimmed down. There wasn't. I wouldn't say there was an abundance of filler in the film, but there was a lot that you could have trimmed in the story that wouldn't have hindered the rest of the story or the film in general. I would have taken it down to 2 hours or an hour and 50.
Flowed,
it did, but
I
flow.
I reckon some of the kill scenes could. I mean, the bedroom scene in particular went on for quite a while. So you could have just gone right. I'll tell you what, just suck that down a bit. But to be fair, the director Damien Leone, he has written the treatment for I think Terrifier 3, obviously coming out after this. But even he has said it will not be a 2 hour 20 minute because even he was like, that's too long. It's way too long. So,
it was. This damn theatre experience. I mean, not just talking all the way through, but it's a small theatre. You can see in the corner of your eye there, big arms out in the air, pointing, going, or when someone is killed, it's like both arms in the air, hollering, yeah. Like, no, when I watch, I want to be immersed. So I don't. The people I'm with, I might want to quickly talk to them about the film we're watching together. Yeah. But that's it. Very subtly, very quietly.
It's if this say we've gone to see, I don't know, if we're going to see Friday the 13th, Jason Takes Manhattan. That film is designed to be campy. It's it's not. You're not supposed to watch it seriously. It's not I think when they wrote it, they were like, going a bit off the rails here because let's face it, some dude has his head, punched off to Mars by Jason.
Yes.
In that kind of a film, you could when he does it, you'd be like, yeah, it's kind of funny. But with this one, the characters in Terrifier 2 get weird, and this is what I like. I enjoyed this. Was they're like the guys from X, and they're likable. You get to like them. I don't think any of these characters in this. The mother of Sienna was a little bit.
Both mothers, to be fair, that were portrayed in
both
the
mothers were a little bit odd.
Right, yeah.
But Sienna, Sienna, I can't remember the kid's name. Her brother's name, Jonathan, Brooke, and Ali, Sienna's friends, were actually quite likable.
Yeah.
They weren't designed to be, hi, here's cannon fodder.
No.
You came to like them.
And not there weren't any specific comedic characters for like an audience to laugh at, really.
No. I mean, whereas Art, when Art wasn't doing his killing stuff,
no,
he had some quite funny moments.
He did, he did, but he's not intentionally a comedic character. I really thought that this is a very good comparison, I thought, to Evil Dead 2, where Terrifier 1 and The Evil Dead are, for the most part, very straight on, very serious. So I said to you after this film, I preferred Terrifier 1 as a better horror film, but this is a better film. Yeah. Terrifier 2 is a better film. Terrifier 1 is a better horror film. Yeah. Evil Dead 1 is a better horror film. Evil Dead 2 is a better film. It's more fun. And there are comedic aspects in Evil Dead 2, and there's comedic aspects in Terrifier 2.
Yeah, I agree with that. Terrifier 1 is very much a straightforward slasher film. It's
completely
serious. It's very dark, very gritty. Again, Art is a mind clown, so they had to throw in a little bit, the honking of the horn, which makes a return in this, just to kind of break up that completely serious right, here you go, full on stuff.
That
I felt in this film, he's testing the waters about how much comedy he can get away with before it's like, it's not Terrifier film now. You've gone way away from the horror.
Yeah.
So maybe in Terrifier 3, maybe like, okay, they'll get the balance right between, the very seriousness and the horror and the comedy. Sorry.
I hope so, but I guess I think it will require a rewatch in a dark room, whether you're sitting or whatever, just chilled out, watching it, trying to immerse yourself in it, because that can really change the tone of the film.
Oh yeah,
depending on who you're watching it with.
I probably will. I mean, I'm going into town tomorrow, so I might see if I can grab a copy. Only because this way, like you said, I can sit down. The missus might watch it with me. She might not, and we won't have those annoying lads with us. So that way you can fully be like, oh my gosh, that's just especially with the bedroom scene, be like, oh my god, this is how far he will go. This is how much damage he will inflict on someone.
All you'll be watching is that scene, but no one will be around you going, whoa, oh my god, like you'll be
there.
Yeah.
The whole audience, apart from them, I reckon the whole cinema will just been quiet, because you would have just been sitting there going, Jesus Christ, could you imagine if someone like this existed and was willing to do that much to someone?
Completely. I'm going to send you. Have you got your phone with you?
I do, yes.
Right. I'm just sending you a picture on WhatsApp, right? So I took this a while back. So the Blu-ray I've got here the Blu-ray I've got here of Terrifier 2, okay? This got delivered before we went to see it, and I didn't open it. I wanted to wait. Now, when I did go through it the other day, I just quickly skimmed through it for a few notes. That picture I've just sent you, and I'll put it up on the video version of this episode. Sorry, audio listeners. But I'll put it on Twitter as well, and on the Dreadcast Instagram. Just go to Instagram at the Dreadcast. Tell me something. The image of art there, right? This is the menu for Terrifier 2 Blu-ray. That's an old image of Art the Clown. That is not Terrifier 2 Art the Clown. I feel like I've seen that image of Art the Clown either on Terrifier 1 or All Hallows Eve posters.
Was that? Yeah. I must admit, I think that's a poster.
It doesn't look right.
No, that looks like the original Terrifier poster.
I think it is.
Terrifier.
Which then made me think, is this a legit Blu-ray? Has this been licensed properly?
I mean,
it feels legit, but yeah, I just saw that. I was like, this doesn't look right. This just doesn't feel right.
No,
let me stand that back
up. I don't know. It's tricky because, I mean, I've got posters up of Terrifier.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
Let's have a look.
How about that one? My God, there are some brutal posters for Terrifier 2. Crikey.
Yeah, some of them are like, there's actually
some of these you would
like
not
an arty one, proper artistic one.
Yeah, I think some of these you probably would not get away with.
There we go. I've just found it. Here he is. His picture.
Okay.
His picture. I'm going to send you a picture now.
Yep. Let's have a look.
And I'll put this on the video podcast as well. Terrifier 1 Blu-ray. It's the front cover. Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it is.
Yeah, they've reused it. They've reused this image of art in.
No, that's.
Oh, it's two film collection.
And Terrifier 2.
Well then. Shut me up.
Makes Pennywise look like Krusty. That's good.
Hey, Krusty's better than Pennywise.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I just saw it and it felt off.
Well, at least you're happy to know it's a legitimate copy. So there you go.
I have one more note just under my cons list. Not really a con, and then we got all the good stuff to get to. I felt, even though it was such a long film, for what it was, still quite unclear on a lot of aspects of the story and world. Like,
that was on. I think that was on purpose.
I had a feeling it would
Damien,
be.
Yeah, Damien Leone, again, the writer and the director, has stated that every time he releases a Terrifier film, we will get to know more about what is happening with art. But even so, with Sienna, because let's face it, Sienna is a big player in this film now.
Yeah.
We'll get Sienna's part of the pros because she's one of the great things in this film.
Yeah, completely.
And so he's going to explain more about his backstory, which is good because, quite frankly, because of Sienna's family, I guess.
Yeah.
There's something going on behind the scenes with with Sienna's family and art because it's a supernatural slasher film. Let's get it on there.
Yes, it completely is.
With a bit of a twist because Sienna may also be some sort of supernatural tie-in. Because quite frankly, I mean, there's something going on with her as well.
When you say that, actually, that's another thing that I noted down about the theatre experience. I mean, as far as the plot, just before I get into my point, there's not really much of a plot. He's back just killing people, and we're introduced to a family that seem to have a relation somehow to the art, but we don't really know, like we just said.
Yeah.
At the end, where Sienna, who you think is dead, magically comes back to life from this dream world. And there was a guy next to me going, "Oh, come on." And I'm in my head thinking, if you saw the first one, this is far from far-fetched, because the first one, he pretty much came back to life at the end. So
he's resurrected.
Anything's game. Really. Anything's fair game.
There's also a dead girl that only he can see.
Exactly.
Who seems to have who again is some sort of supernatural element.
The pale girl.
The pale girl, yeah.
Who has bowel problems.
Yeah. So, oh god, she really does. Flipping heck.
That's the first introduction.
There are some moments in this film where that was within the first 5 minutes. You're just like, what the fuck is going on here?
Yeah.
But I've just completely forgotten.
I'm sorry. I
didn't
need to bring that
up. No, it's gone. I'll remember it later. We'll move on.
We were talking about like how immortality, nothing's really far-fetched. It's supernatural. Supernatural slasher.
I remember now.
Yeah.
It was an interview with Damien Leone that happened, and Sienna was actually a character that he's tried to get to the screen for about 10 years. So he's worked on Terrifier for quite a while now.
Yeah.
And she was supposed to appear in the first Terrifier film.
Right.
But the story he had, and I think the scope of what he wanted, it would just never happen. So he went, right, we'll push it to the side and everything. But he's now brought her back. She's now brought her in Terrifier 2.
Yeah.
And she effectively is now our final girl. She will be in Terrifier 3 and beyond.
Yeah, I could
because the
imagine.
way that what he wanted for the series is he very much wants it to be a good versus evil, angel versus demon kind of, clashing. And especially when you get to the end of Terrifier 2, and of course with Sienna's Halloween costume, you think, oh, okay, right, she's the avenging angel here because she very much comes into that sort of flame wielding sword thing.
Yes,
right
the sort of Valkyrie position. I think she is meant to be. Yeah, there's a good talk about Sienna and the cast actually, because something I wrote down was that director Leone, he's done a great job so far within 2 films of casting his casting and portraying very likable leading final girls. Like Tara and Vicky, her sister, are likable in the first one. They're
Vicky.
Until, let's say, what happens to her face. But let's say for 95% of the film, they are good final girls. They're
very good.
There are some mediocre horror films with some awful final men and women. It doesn't matter who they are. But they were great classic final girls. And Sienna's as well is a great final girl, quote unquote.
Yeah, she's obviously she's very young in terms of final girl status. She's very young.
Yes,
she's only been in one film. Lauren Laverne is the actress that plays her. But I
Lauren Lavera. Yeah,
Lavera, not Laverne.
Yeah,
Sorry.
yeah.
Lavera.
Lauren Laverne is a DJ on Radio 2, I think.
That's the one. Yeah. I reckon so long as he can keep, improving upon. Well, the thing is, once he's now established her as a character, all he's got to do is he's just got to build upon that backstory he gets with her, and I reckon she could go up there with some of the more famous final girls. Laurie Strode, Sydney Prescott, Sienna, whatever her surname is. I don't think she actually has a surname.
Well, I mean, even this year alone, I think I put a tweet out about this the other day that, and maybe not this year and a couple of years ago with Midsummer. I wasn't a big fan of Midsummer, but who Florence Pugh plays in Midsummer.
Yes.
You could kind of class her as a final girl, but this year we had Jenna Ortega in Scream, Mia Goth in X and Pearl, Amber Midthunder in Prey, and now Lauren Lavera. We've got like a great new generation of final girls.
Yeah.
I mean, we may even be able to add Hayden Panettiere in the next Scream. We don't know, but
we'll have to see. We'll see what happens in Scream 6. Scream 6? Yeah, Scream 6.
But also, all these are likable. They're likable. You're not. They are. You're not ironically or unironically rooting for just kill her. Fight. She can run away, but kill her in the end. You're like, no. You're pretty cool.
Yeah. You're not. I think that's down to the writers are, because when these films first came out, like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, original Friday the 13th, the original Halloween, they were written to be liked. You came to know them, you came to love them, you wanted them to survive. Yeah. And then something happened. The films went on, sequelitis happens, and the quality went from, all right, we've got the final girl to just make a film. I don't care. Throw some random people in, kill them off, have one survive. Yeah, done. And they went down, and you started to go to the cinema and go, I don't really care about the people. Yeah. I just want to see them die horribly.
I have no interest.
But now, like you said, with Scream 5, X, Pearl, Terrifier 2, they're going up again. Hopefully, because the writers are thinking, well, no, actually, if you really want a good horror film, you need to have a really compelling slasher.
Yeah.
But you also need that final girl, final man. Let's face it, there's not many final men in horror films lately. It's mainly the final girls.
They tend to follow the trope of final girl.
Yeah.
That's just how it is. Yeah.
And you need to make them equally as lovable as your slasher. Obviously, down the line, like we found out with Scream 5, if you're going to bring back legacy characters, well, some of them have got to die.
Yes.
Found out Scream 5.
Yeah.
Scream 6 probably going to happen again because there's only one legacy character coming back. But we'll get to that later.
Yeah, but they actually like these final girls. This new generation final girls have a backbone. They're portrayed as stronger, much stronger.
Yeah.
Sienna kicks the shit out of Art at points in this.
She fully wells on him.
Yeah.
And it was great to see because I sat there going, yeah, damn right. And even when you're watching the end, this is obviously quite near the end of this is pretty much the end of the film. Even Art, when he's taking the pounding, you could see it in his eyes. It was, oh my God, this is not supposed to happen.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to win here. And she is just she's like cat and nine-tailing him.
Yeah.
And it was great to see because you think, yeah, you go.
As the point I remember we mentioned, I think you pointed out in the trailer reaction we did, where you pointed out that clip of Art sort of backing off, looking a bit
shocked,
flabbergasted as to what's happening.
Yeah.
And that was at that scene where Sienna is holding her own,
fully going ham.
Yeah.
Would you class Jonathan as a final boy? Because technically,
a final boy. I guess he is a boy. Yeah.
He's a young teen. I think he's maybe 14, 15 in this.
There we go. So final female, final male.
Final female. Yes. Yeah. There we go. We'll go with that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Final teens. Yeah,
I definitely would, because of the fact he was in the mix so much, especially I didn't think he would be so much involved in the final scenes.
My earphones have gone. Oh no.
Oh no.
What has happened?
BRB, folks. So this is now the third attempt at continuing our Terrifier 2 recap. And on this lovely third attempt, I am now talking to myself pretty much because someone forgot their camera. So I'm just watching myself.
Well, it's weird.
Now.
It's weird. I picked up the webcam, I wrapped it, I packed it, and I've gotten to unpack it now, and I'm like, okay, I distinctly remember packing this webcam, but clearly I didn't, which is odd. So I don't know what has happened. I tried finding my PlayStation. I tried to find my PlayStation webcam, see if that could work, but I can't find that, and I'm fairly certain I sold that anyway because I never used it.
Would that have worked?
Yeah. So I don't know where that's. I think it. Well, I'm using PlayStation headphones at the moment on my PC, so I reckon it could do.
Okay. Well,
yeah, I'm going to get rid of those other headphones because they suck.
The ones that you couldn't hear me when we tried before.
Doesn't die.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
So this is our
that one.
third attempt now at continuing our Terrifier 2 episode. Now, we were left off. I remember we specifically left off. We were just finished talking about Jonathan. We were saying how good Jonathan was.
Yes.
As a younger brother. And they had a really good dynamic of brother and sister, I felt.
They do, yes. They're very. I want to say they're as brothers and sisters go. You can feel that their bond that they have with each other.
Yo, big time, especially towards the end.
They're two very different. They're two. Oh yeah. I must admit, there was a bit near the end which when we were watching it, I was sitting there going, "Oh, come on now, you gotta act a little bit more in pain there." But we'll get to that. And
which bit was that?
But their personalities are. It's the bit where he's having his ankles bitten off, and he's sort of looking at him, going, "Ah."
Yeah,
it's like, mate, you're being eaten alive.
He was great, but actually, now you say it, his acting was good, but it's his acting of terror and scare and being scared.
Yeah,
that could have been enhanced a bit. That could have been turned up to 11 a bit more.
Yeah, that's what I thought. But to be fair, he's a young kid, so we'll let him get away with that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's got many years of acting prowess to impress us with.
Yeah. As far as the rest of the cast, there weren't really many downsides to a lot of the acting. I think we mentioned when we came out of the theatre that the mums were maybe the weaker parts, especially Ali's mum.
The mum. Oh yes, yeah. She, to be fair though, she wasn't in it for much though, if we're being honest.
No.
But ow, that was my foot. I think her reaction to seeing what happened to Ali was quite. I don't know if that. Or to be fair, I don't know if you walked into that scene and saw that. How would you react? So she could have been spot on, actually. To be fair,
it's quite a hard scene or just scenario to say. I mean, like I said, her acting, we didn't see much of it, but the scene itself, the scenario, is quite a hard one to judge her acting on, I guess. So maybe we are being too harsh, because why don't we just look? It's taken us a whole week to talk about this. Let's just talk about the scene, okay?
The bedroom scene, as they call it.
As it's called, the bedroom scene. The most infamous scene in one and or two Terrifier films. Yeah,
I mean, when we do, I will say this. We do apologize for the amount of times you might hear coming from the both of us.
Yes,
we both do have some sore throats, as it goes to say.
100%.
We're not 100%, but this is very much Terrifier 2's hacksaw scene in a nutshell.
And the rest,
but and the rest, and sort of cranked up to 11. I mean, they fully went over the. I mean, I must admit, when you first start watching, so the bedroom scene is when Art he's gone to Ali's house, and he's trying to get some candy off her.
Yeah, and
she's looked at him and went, I mean, it's for kids. I mean, I'm not going to give you any. And he persists, and eventually she throws some candy into his refuse sack of tricks or items, and she notices that inside it it's filled with all his tools for torture and whatnot.
Yeah, because we're at Halloween at this point,
and but he walks away. And
It's basically
okay.
basically like comes across as like a trick or treating Halloween costume. Like, oh, he's really committed to his costume.
Yeah, he's also committed to the mind bit. He never speaks. No.
Yeah.
But he goes away, and she thinks, okay, he's gone away. He's just a bit of a weirdo. Fine. However, he breaks into her house and chases her up the stairs, and this is where the scene really kicks into high gear because he goes ham on poor Allie.
He turns her into a ham.
Bloody hell. Yeah, he pretty much does. Now I'm in the hacksaw now with the hacksaw scene from Terrifier when he's cutting through I want to say Brooke. I think it was Brooke. It's believable to a point that she would survive most of that part of having that hacksaw through, your anatomy before you would pass out. Because quite frankly, there's only so much trauma you can take from a hacksaw going through you. The amount that Allie goes through, I will admit, I was watching this and I just sat there thinking, okay, you would have passed out long before it got to
Dawn. Her name is Dawn in the first
one.
I just wanted to double check.
I think it's Brooke.
Check that.
I don't know what. Let's fix the Brooke might be the actress that plays her. Was it Brooke? Yeah, I don't know. No, there's a Brooke in this film.
Brooke in Terrifier too. Brooke is her best friend, who I believe she's dressed as Cindy Lauper, I think, in the Halloween party.
I have no idea. She'll come up later in another goof that I have. One of the only goofs actually so far that I have in this film, which is quite fun.
So the bedroom scene.
But the amount of trauma that Allie goes through. Obviously, like I said, in Terrifier, the film is a bit more serious than Terrifier 2 is, and it's believable that she gets through a bit of the pain, and then that's it. She conks out. She leaves this world. I don't know how Allie survived most of this, and I will admit it was a little bit. It kind of took me out of the film a bit because I was sitting there thinking, "All right, this is just going on now for too long."
Agreed.
If you think about it, she gets. So I don't know how. I can't remember exactly, but pretty much she gets. I think she gets stabbed, scalped.
Yeah,
she has one of her arms broken. I'm assuming this is the order. She then had. Do you remember the order?
Yeah, I think so.
Because
I think it starts with. So yeah, you mentioned about Art downstairs trying to get candy, and then he eventually breaks in, and that's where the chase scene ends up in the bedroom. He eventually, as the chasing, I guess, is kind of important as to what happens first, because he's chasing her, grabs her, and slices vertically. For the video viewers, you can see what I'm doing. From her forehead down to her cheek, whilst going through her eyeball, and it's very subtly shown that he doesn't just miss the eyeball; he goes down into the eye socket, into the eyeball. So that is gross. That is bleeding everywhere. This is very nitpicky. I feel her scream. I feel like she could have been in more pain and more distress from just that alone.
Yeah,
I know I was. I know I was.
Yep, I was
because of that.
I think most of us, apart from those plonkers that we had.
Yeah, she ends up on the floor, and then it's that point I believe he starts going at her back, attacking her back. Then he grabs a pair of scissors, I believe, and scalps her, which is fantastically well done. It's gross. That kind of bothered me though because
it was.
He scalped her, but it showed her brain. I think. I don't think that was her top of her skull.
Because it did.
Something I always think about is Saw. I think it's Saw 3 where the doctor has to do the operation on Jigsaw, and they really show a lot of it.
Yeah,
like showing cutting into the scalp, pulling the scalp back, then cutting into the skull. He just used a pair of scissors and ripped it off, and then you suddenly saw her brain. So, not really sure about that. The arm breaking. Yeah. Good point. He completely just breaks it. And then I think it's the other arm that he splits from the ring finger and the middle finger down
Yeah.
the arm. He completely splits it.
Cuts down the fingers. Yeah. That's a pretty big ouchie moment, shall we say?
Yeah, it is. I don't remember much else. Many other notable moments that oh god, he it might not be at this point. It might be like 10-20 seconds later after a few more instances that more things he's doing to her, but he runs out of the room and she's crawling towards her phone somehow.
Oh, yes.
She has the energy, she's conscious, and she can try and crawl towards her phone. And he runs back in with is it alcohol? It's a liquid and a powder. I think it's some sort of alcohol. Is it vinegar or
it's bleach? No, it's bleach.
Oh, it's bleach. That's it. Sorry,
it's bleach and salt.
Bleach and salt, and he's just with a big smile on his face, just dousing poor Ali with all of this. And again,
he really is.
I feel like the distress and screaming would be more, but I don't want to. The acting, because when you're in that state,
yeah.
I
think it depends if you get. I mean, I think it's touched upon slightly in Martyrs, which is you get to a certain amount of pain that you just don't feel it. And the amount of adrenaline, maybe the amount of like adrenaline survival stuff that was kicking through her was just dousing the pain. But it's, I mean, most of that, when I was watching it, I must admit, I was sat again, which, you know, again, like Terrifier, 99% of the effects in this film are all practical, which is fantastic, meaning that everything they did in that bedroom scene was being done right there and then. No CGI, nothing like. Well, there's a bit of CGI.
Her face.
When we get to when Ali's mum returns. Yeah, the face right at the end is a bit CGI, but the fact that the rest of it was all practical effects is just incredible. It's not really seen a lot nowadays, but hopefully, you know, it will come back.
It's more incredible the fact that Damien Leone did most of them with a small team, but.
Yeah,
I tried looking up like his history in the special effects field. I couldn't really find many notes behind it, but more so just notes on how he did these effects, and it just got me thinking that he's clearly a director. He's directed these films, but I don't know his backstory with the special effects. Like Tom Savini is an actor and special effects artist. Greg Nicotero is more so just in a special effects artist. Everything he's done in the acting. And there's not much history behind Damien Leone and his special effects. They've sort of just come out of nowhere, and he's fantastic at it. It's some of the I know. I think we talked about Bloody Disgusting. Have nominated. Well, not nominated. They've put up this film for best makeup and effects. Now, Oscars don't go for horror like that. They go for their artsy films, the best makeup. But this is makeup effects. And they're incredible.
Yeah, that's right. It's what makes it even more the fact that he's been able to do these amount of special effects is the fact that he made this film on a $250,000 budget.
Yeah,
and it feels like a big. I guess is it a double A? Well, it's or whatever it is. However they rate their films, double A film. But it's great. It feels like a big Hollywood film. But then when you see it only had $250,000 of budget, you must think they must have guerrilla filmed the crap out of this film somehow, which makes it even more fun to watch.
I didn't realize they'd filmed this during the pandemic. It's taken this long to film. They obviously stopped shooting for a bit, but they started filming before the pandemic. So in theory, this could have come out a lot earlier. This
been about. I think that was the idea. They wanted to release it earlier, but so I think Laura. Oh, I can remember her name. Lauren Laverne. I want to say that's her name.
You said that last
time. It's
Sienna. Not Lauren Laverne. It's Lauren Lavera. Or Lavera.
Oh, it's Laura.
Lauren Laverne is a BBC radio DJ.
I do apologise. Lauren Lavera, I believe she posted an Instagram or a tweet back in 2019 saying, we just wrapped a bit of filming on Terrifier 2.
That's
and then, of course, everything got shut down.
Yeah.
And I don't know when they resumed filming Terrifier 2. I think it was 2021 or late 2020, one of the two. Obviously, they managed to get it done again. I must say, it is a great film. I do love this film.
Yeah.
And they upped the gore factor so much.
Oh,
so
completely.
much
And it's
on this film. It's great.
This bedroom scene alone is the. I mean, there are gory moments in the film. This is definitely the highlight of, shall we say, gore in the film. More so for
I
the
would
fact of when
reckon.
her mum arrives back at the house, goes upstairs to see where Ali is, what's going on. Art's propped Ali up in the bed while he's feasting. I think he's eating parts of her then with a big smile on his face.
He's basically doing. Yeah, he's doing a hostel at that point in time.
Yeah, and she's still alive. And I mean, not even alive. Forget the fact she's alive. She's conscious.
Yeah, that's the bit that I did sit there thinking, no, and there's no way. And they did an interview with Damien Leone again after they filmed it, and they had now that point in time, that's not the actress there, that was a mannequin.
Yeah.
So again, the CGI bit came in there when, of course, her eye opens to look at her mum. That bit is obviously that probably couldn't have been the real actress.
Yeah.
But they had a couple of people underneath pumping, I guess it's fake blood through tubes in the torso to make it look like she was still breathing and her heart was still going. Yeah. But when you see the amount, like I said, the amount of like mutilation that she's gone through, you have to admit, when you get to that point, you are thinking, no, you would have long gone by that point.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I'd hope. Hopefully you would have done, because oof.
It's a hard argument as well because of the fact that there are so many far-fetched moments in this, I guess, series now because of who or what art is. There's immortality, there's weird paranormal aspects, so you can kind of get away with these sort of bits, with her. She should have been dead. She should have been unconscious, whatever, because of you've got this as well in the film. But it's still a little bit just. There's one more critique. There's a little critique that I put in my, because we're going between the bedroom scene and special effects. I did a little special effects notes on my page, and one little critique. This is more so because of what I've done in my work in the past. The blood I felt could have been darker. I felt
I think you mentioned this.
Too red. Blood is really quite dark.
It's really because it's blue when it's inside a body, but once it hits oxygen, that's when it goes red, isn't it? And there you go, a bit of chemistry, a bit of biology for you there.
I didn't know that.
Interesting fact. That I only found. I don't know how. Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, it's real. Blood is blue inside you, and then when it hits oxygen, it turns red. I'm gonna have to double check that. Is blood blue?
I'm not.
I gotta double check it just in case I'm.
Yeah, you probably should have done that beforehand. Human blood.
Sorry. Well,
is red.
Blood.
Human blood. Oh yeah. So easy to get us confused with octopuses. Human blood is red because hemoglobin, which is carried in the blood and functions to transport oxygen, is iron-rich and red in color. Octopuses and horseshoe crabs have blue blood. Easy mistake, mate. Easy mistake to make.
Okay. Someone obviously told me a lie when.
How are you allowed near a microphone?
I don't know. I probably shouldn't be. Let's be honest. One thing I realized is because I was trying to find pictures of Ali when she's in that bedroom. I did find one. It's a YouTube video, so I don't want to click in it. And I'm looking at the state that she's in when she gets to that point in time, and quite frankly, there is no way she would. Yeah, I mean, so her left leg is basically been, as we said earlier, carved up like chopped ham.
Yep.
Her right right shin bone has been completely eaten down to the bone.
Yep.
So there's nothing left.
Yep.
Her right arm was also the one that was broken.
Yep.
So that's hanging off and cut to pieces. Her left arm is completely missing. She's been scalped. And her chest has been cut open. So honestly, no. No. There is no way she'd survive that.
And also,
and I have just noticed...
The scalping, right? Oh, yeah. Can you see? Is it her brain? Is her brain exposed?
It doesn't look like it from this picture.
I'm going to have to look at this as well.
I'm going to say no, but I'm fairly certain in the film it was. Because I think even I sat there going, hey, where's the skull? There should be a skull in there somewhere.
Here we go. Let's have a look.
Let's see if we get... Let's see if we get the same picture.
Look quite dark. The blood does look quite dark, to be fair. Yeah, it's quite hard to tell whether or not that's her brain or skull.
Yeah.
But it's one hell of an image, though, isn't it?
Oh yeah. I mean, but when this film first came out, obviously we had to wait a little bit for it to come out in the UK.
Yeah.
But they had people allegedly leaving the cinemas. They were being sick. Yeah. They were passing out. And I can guarantee you it was this scene that did it. After you've watched this, there is no doubt in your mind that it was this scene that people went, nope, I've had enough, I'm off. And the thing is, this scene is probably, I don't know, around about the third act of this film. This is getting near the end game of the film. Because I believe after this, Sienna her brother gets kidnapped by the little pale girl, and she has to go save him. Because then Brooke is... Oh, no, yes, it is. Because this is just before the party.
They'd only just got to the party, which... Oh, then you've got the party,
so
then you've got
not
the
quite
fiend ground. It's probably around the middle. It's probably around the second act.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, it's around about that point in time.
Yeah.
So I did notice, though, one of my thoughts I had going around my head was, at the end of Terrifier, Art loses his eye. Because he gets it stabbed out, and of course he blows the back of his head out. Now, I sat there going, does he regain his eye in this film? Because I couldn't think he does, but looking at this, he does. Yeah, he gets his eye back. Oh, that's a bit of a shame.
At the beginning of the film.
Oh, does he? I thought it doesn't regenerate. I thought he just was playing around with it.
Do you not remember the beginning of Terrifier 2 obviously carries on from the end of Terrifier 1, where he wakes up in the morgue and is fucking around with the mortician with his paranormal and whatnot. Yeah. He then attacks the mortician brutally, gouges his eye out, and literally puts it back in his socket.
How did I miss that? Oh, okay. I must
right at the beginning. Now, obviously, we don't know how this works, but if you look at the image, which I'm still looking at now, which is disgusting, of Art sitting on Ali's bed, his face is clearly all like sort of healed. So maybe there's some sort of regeneration power or whatnot, but his eye, he takes the mortician's eye, puts it back in. He's playing around with all the mortician's like bits and whatever.
Oh, right. I must have.
Do you not remember that?
To be fair, I have to watch it again. I don't know.
Yeah, he does.
There's so much that happens in this film.
But there's also, like I said about how this image, you can see Art's face is back to normal. You kind of see that when he goes to the laundrette at the beginning as well to clean his bloody clothes. His face is back to normal. His face is sort of regenerated, back to normal. However this monstrosity face looks with his big, long, deformed nose, his deformed mouth, it's all kind of just back to normal, back to the status quo.
Yeah, Art is definitely supernatural, mainly because there's the post-credit scene that is, I don't know what they would, that post-credit scene was weird beyond belief, let's be honest. Yeah. It was, it sets up, I guess it sets up Terrifier 3.
Yeah.
But I reckon the little pale girl is responsible for some of his abilities, because she seems to be, I don't know what she is to him. I mean, she is effectively, so she's Vicky, so his first victim. I think that was confirmed confirm that she was the little girl that went missing, and that's where she transformed into. Yeah, I think there's a little newspaper clipping that showed a missing girl who was who Art kills.
That may have been in Jonathan and Sienna's dad's book.
Yeah, it was in the book. It's not on screen for too long. It's there very briefly, and I reckon she's some sort of demon entity that is responsible for transporting Art. Because in the post-credit scene, well, not after the end of after Sienna, Sienna and Art have their big showdown. She takes away Art's head, and then of course, Art's head comes back again in a rather interesting way.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see how Terrifier 3 kind of kicks off, because he's not really got a body. So I don't know what they're going to do there, but hey ho, I'm sure we'll find out.
I'm not gonna make any speculation about the Pale Girl just yet, because we don't know anything about her really. She just appeared, which is great, because like I said before, as long as he has all these notes on how to tie everything up in a nice little package, we'll get an explanation on the Pale Girl. Hopefully, we'll get an explanation on how Vicky gave birth to Art's head at the end.
Such a weird moment.
Hopefully we'll get explanations to all of this, because the Pale... I like that they introduced the Pale Girl. They don't say why. They have no idea. They leave us with no answers as to why she's here, why only Art can see her. Like, it leaves you asking questions, leaves you wanting more. Which is good.
Well, Art's not the only one who could see her, because Jonathan started to see her, and so did Sienna right near the end.
Good point. Yes.
So, but I believe that Sienna and Jonathan's family, I reckon they are tied to Art. Well, not to Art, but they're tied to wherever Art's abilities come from. And I reckon, like Damien Leone said, they're building up to this big good versus evil showdown with Art as the demon, Sienna as the angel. And they're just going to have this huge slobber knocker of a fight. And it's going to be great. There'll be probably, again, obscene levels of violence. But, we have to kind of expect that from a Terrifier film now. It's got to be said.
Yeah, exactly. And there was actually, I don't know if you saw it, there was a watch-along last night, 2 nights ago, with Damien Leone, all the cast live tweeting it. And it seemed like the most common question and comment that they were getting was people wondering and speculating if Art is or was Sienna and Jonathan's dad.
I did wonder that myself.
I don't think it fits, though. I really don't think it fits.
Yeah, it is a stretch, because Sienna and Jonathan would recognize their father. So if he was to turn up as Art the Clown, they should both be like, oh well, no, hang on, that's my father. What are you doing? Yeah. So that theory doesn't really pan out. But the father predicted Sienna having a showdown with Art. Well, maybe not. We're not having a showdown with Art.
Yeah.
But he predicted her. He saw her as an angel, and he saw Art as the monster. So he must have. Someone or some entity must have been feeding these images into him to sort of prepare to be like, right, you have to write these down.
Yeah.
Not for you, but for your daughter, to then get the inspiration for that, that costume that she has to wear on that night, in order for her to become, this supernatural, empowered being, I guess we could say.
Yeah. I had a couple of quick segues just before we go to a little break.
Oh yeah.
Before we go to a little break, we were talking about. We were just talking about Ali's death, and the first attack on her is the slice of the eyeball. Have you ever seen?
Oh yeah.
And to all your listeners at home, have you ever seen Salvador Dali's eyeball clip?
No, I don't think I have.
I'm about to show it to you.
Salvador Dali's eyeball.
I'm about to link it to
All right.
you. watch
I'm
this.
gonna have to look at this.
Watch
I mean,
this. This
Salvador
is one of
Dali did some unusual paintings.
Yeah.
Let's have a
This
look.
is one of the grossest things I think you'll see. Watch this. Start it at around.
Oh, it's this.
Start it.
Yeah, I know this one.
Start it around 40 seconds. This one I've just linked you, and watched it.
My God, this is on YouTube.
Yeah. I can't believe this is still on YouTube, because it's art, shall we say? And yeah, that's something. So if you folks, if you search cut icing Salvador Dali, that's one of the most graphic eye-cutting scenes I think you'll ever see. Much worse than zombie flesh eaters, and probably much worse than this one.
Yeah, I
did you watch it?
I'm fairly certain that as soon as I saw the little teaser trailer here, I was like, I know that one. I've seen that before. I know what he's talking about. No. I don't want to watch more YouTube videos. Thing is, it's incredible what films are able to do. And so over the weekend, this is a completely different film. The missus and I, we were just chilling out on a Sunday, and we put The Wizard of Oz on. You know, the classic 19, I don't know when it came out, years ago film. And it was amazing the level of special effects that they got in that film for that time. It's just amazing. And it's amazing how over the years gone past, they were able to do a special effect that you say in, I don't know, 1954, that you just sit there and think, how on earth did you do that back in those days? We can do it now easily, but back then they must have really had to have come up with an ingenious way of doing it. And I think that's just fantastic. It's great how to do that.
Special effects date back to early days of theatre. You know, theatre was obviously before film, so effects go back to hundreds and hundreds of years. Obviously, they weren't as good back then, but they've adapted over time. And theatre's been around
1930
Shakespeare times, so effects adapt over and over time. And then when film comes along, it gets adapted even more advanced. But yeah, I mean, special effects is nothing new, really. It's just been taken over by modern CGI, unfortunately, and visual effects, and it will never have the same impact. If you did Terrifier 2 in the bedroom scene with
CGI,
majority of CGI and visual effects, it wouldn't have hit as hard.
No, it wouldn't have done. And I reckon the weight of the scene was a lot heavier. I must admit, I was sitting and watching it, and it wasn't. Obviously, when you see a film, you have to suspend belief because it's the only way to get through a film. Fully immerse yourself in the film. Yeah. And it's a hard scene to watch. If you really think about, especially if you think if this was a person that was actually real, doing this, the amount of pain, like suffering, the amount of horror that would be going through their minds, thinking, I've got to escape, otherwise, I'm going to die. But then every time, she gets her arm broken off, you're thinking, I'm not going to survive this. The terror that must have been going through her mind would be, I don't know how you would cope with it. And it makes the scene much heavier. Didn't help that there were plonkers that found it as funny as balls. But, there you go.
So I said I had a segue from what we were just talking about, the bedroom scene and
all
that. My segue being that how art is towards the end of the scene. When Ali's mum rushes in, she sees Art munching nom on Ali, but all the while, I have two segues here. All the while he's well, the first segue is about Art. All the while he's doing this, he's smiling, right? Now, like how we were talking about him in the Terrifier 1 episode, which folks, if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen to it. It's episode 22,
oh, yes, do that.
I think, but go check it out. he's laughing. He's enjoying himself because in his mind, it's like he's won. She didn't fight back. No struggle. He got what he wanted. He got the suffering that he liked. Whereas if you remember in Terrifier 1, we noted and mentioned about how Tara fought back. It was more of a struggle, and he was just he seemed fed up with it. So it's like pop, bang in the face. I'm not happy with this. I'm just going to end you.
Yeah, he got bored, didn't he, with Tara?
Yeah,
it's like she's fighting back. She's not scared. So to him, it was, well, why should I waste my time? For him, it's definitely he gets the thrills from their fear. That's what he's after. He's after their fear, and if he doesn't get that, to him, it's, well, got to move on. Let's move on. Find the next victim. So Ali was absolutely. I mean, yeah, she was absolutely terrified of Art. Probably, which is why he tortured her for as long as he did. Because if he can keep her alive whilst eliciting all that fear from her, I mean, well, if you were Art, you probably would do that, wouldn't you? God, the man. I mean, I'm going to have to say, Art is, as far as a slasher goes, he is probably one of the most violent slashers out there right now. There's no doubt about it. If you think about
now, as of all time, probably.
Yeah. So Michael Myers is pretty much straightforward. Goes in, kills you, moves on. Freddy likes to I don't know. Freddy toys with you before he kills you, but again, it's usually pretty quick when he does it. He goes in, he teases you for a bit, and then he kills you straight out. Jason is pretty much the same as Michael. Doesn't really toy with you, just gets on with it, kills you. The only one who probably is, I'll probably say, a PG version of Art would be Chucky. Because Chucky does get some enjoyment out of inflicting pain, but even then, it's not to the levels of Art. Art is pretty much, again, cranked off the dial in terms of how brutal he is willing to go to.
We could go through every single serial killer slasher in horror, but off the top of the head, I wouldn't put him as number one because, like I said, we'd need to work it out. But he's up there at the top. I would also put Victor Crowley from the Hatchet series.
Oh yeah,
because there's some very horrific kills in there. But yeah, he's a very sadistic, brutal, violent killer. I also want to point out that I noted down that you can really notice like a remarkable change of emotion from him when he loses his smile. So throughout whatever it will be that will make him lose his smile, the way he put David Gordon Green, that's the Halloween director, David Howard Thornton. I kept getting that confused. As great as he is as his mime work, his facial expressions are incredible, and the grinning, the teeth grinning, is such a key aspect of his character, his look. As are. Like, he has eyebrows. He does have eyebrows. He does have eyebrows. Yes, they're painted on eyebrows. I've mind blanked them for a second. To me, I think it's the grin and the eyebrows. Once he changes whatever emotion he's in, whether it be laughing, kill, or just his big grinning smile, to suddenly stoic, like confused look or angry look. It's incredible how quickly the emotion changes. Like in the laundrette, as we mentioned, where he's called confused, looking at the pale girl. It's weird because we're not used to that. We're just used to Art being such a sadistic, big grin, like I'm gonna fucking kill you. I'm gonna completely brutalize you. To suddenly, it's such a great piece of acting through just facial expressions.
We picked up on that when we watched the trailer. Obviously, the editing for the trailer, cuts and pieces. But again, there was that moment where Art is surprised, sort of that taken back of, oh, hang on. And that again, I think what sets Art apart is there are moments when he shows remarkable human type emotions that most of the slashers don't have. So we see Art when he's off doing his thing. He's extreme enjoyment. He's loving himself at that point in time. There's the big smiles, the eyebrows go up, well, obviously he doesn't say anything, but you can tell he's enjoying it. And then with Tara, when she fights back, he shows boredom. He shows a lack of interest. In fact, he shows a bit of, I wouldn't say hatred, but what's the word? Whatever word I was looking for. And then again in Terrifier 2, he's taken back, and it was this moment of surprise of, hang on, this ain't going right. Whoa, hang on, what are you doing? And most slashers don't have that nowadays. If something takes them off guard, they don't show it. It's just, minor detour. Let's get back to it.
One point I put down is about back to the laundrette scene again. There was so much in that scene. When he takes his clothes off to wash them, but he leaves his sort of I don't know what you call it,
cowl on.
Around his head on, and whatever's going on with his face is because he's clearly got a human body, but his face with the elongated nose, the cheeks are they've had work done. That seems to just be part of him. Yeah, so it's like, is this really how his head is shaped? He's obviously put the costume on that's now in the laundrette, but is in the washing machine. But is this actually his face? And that's part of him? It's not like he takes it off and washes his face and applies the prosthetic nose again. Like, this is him, or whatever he is.
Yeah, I like that the I say the bedroom, not the bedroom scene, the laundrette scene. I'm getting my scenes mixed up now. The laundrette scene again. It's a weird sort of behind the scenes scene of a day in the life of a slasher.
Yeah, so, you don't get many of these sort of scenes.
No, it's really weird. It's an enjoyable scene to watch because it gives us a little glimpse into Art's, I guess, mind or whatever backstory he has. We start to think, okay, right, well, there's something else here behind him that only he can see. And again, slashers must get covered in blood, and yet, they never change their clothes. They never seem to have a shower or whatever. And here we have one who's looked at his clothes and gone, a bit covered in a bit of blood here. All right, I'm gonna go down, wash my clothes.
But the majority of slashers they do their business and then they're sort of
they disappear
away and disappear into the fog or the ether. Art is just out and about, like we saw going to Ali's house in his van that he's now got.
He's got a van now, doesn't he?
But again, this was at Halloween time, so he can get away with the costume, pretending to be someone dressed up Halloween. But then, day-to-day life, what does he do? Clearly, he goes to the laundrette and cleans his clothes.
Yeah, it's a great scene in this film. You go to see a horror film, and you don't really expect to be treated to a 5 to 10 minute scene of just Art sitting there going, I'm gonna play patty cake with this dead girl, and I'm gonna wait for my clothes to dry. Yeah. Cool, all right. It's just a weird scene, but it works for a Terrifier film, which it does. There you go. Hey ho.
Now, as good as the bedroom scene was, my favorite scene of the whole film, I don't know if it was yours, was the costume shop.
Oh, that was good. I did like that.
I thought it was brilliant.
The costume shop is it's just they got it right by including that little sunglasses bit in the trailer, because it's just Art messing around. Thing is, he can terrify, well, not terrify, but he can freak people out by doing something that if he was normally dressed in like plain clothes, didn't look like a clown or anything, you'd probably be laughing at this goofball putting on these weird sunglasses and posing. But because it's him, it terrifies Sienna because she doesn't know who this guy is and it seems to be following her. So to her, it's scary. But when we were watching it, you can't help but laugh because it's just this. He's just having a good time.
Well, that also goes down to the editing. The editing was very well done at that point.
Yeah,
going back and forth between Sienna looking scared at the till, back to Art playing, fucking around with the sunglasses, back to Sienna trying to hurry up the cashier because she wants to get the hell out of there. She's feeling a bit anxious. Back to Art, who's now got the glasses with the fake springy eyeballs on.
Yeah.
Back to Sienna, who's nearly done. Then back to Art again, who I can't remember what another pair he had on. They were
doing something, wasn't he?
Yeah, and it was really well edited. Like it was funny. It was funny, and who was to know we were about to come up after this, not long after this, with a scene where her best friend was about to get massacred. Like the transition between these sort of scenes and then that it's a completely another level.
This scene, the costume shop scene, also gave us. We really got to see Thornton's mime training coming in here.
Yes,
because Art goes to the door. He puts the close sign right and he locks the door. At which point, the lad working behind the counter is standing going, what on earth is going on there? What are you doing? Yeah. And he comes up to the desk, and of course, before this happens, though, we get to see the return of the squeaky horn.
The one time.
It doesn't appear much. The one time.
I think it is. I think it is the one time.
I think it was. Yeah. And he does it to Sienna. And he does it to Sienna. And she goes, "Okay, I'm off," and she leaves. And then he goes to pay for this thing, and he puts the horn down on the table. The guy goes, "Oh, all right then." So he scans it, and this guy, he goes to pay for it, and he gets all these coins out, and just starts like 1 penny, 2 penny, and you can just see the guy standing going, "I just want to go home. For fuck's sake, just let me go home." And he gets this point that he slams his hand down on the table, and Art just looks up and goes, "Oh!" So he's so surprised, and I think most of us laughed at that point in time because it was the way that he can he can put his face into very exaggerated characteristics is just really lends to him playing Art the Clown. I mean, the guy is effectively made to play Art the Clown. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I'm not really sure about his if he's done any other acting roles, but clearly this is him. This was made for him. I can't imagine. I mean, couldn't imagine any top actors
done quite a few actually. So let's have a look at David Thornton's. So he's actually appearing next year in Night of the Living Dead 2. He's been that.
What?
Let's have a look.
That exists?
Apparently, yeah. Night of the Living Dead 2.
No.
He's Yeah. He was in Gotham. He was an orderly. Oh, there you go. Self. What does self mean? I have no idea what self means. Apparently, he was in.
Himself.
Oh, yeah, of course. That would do it. He is an actor who worked in stage, film, and voiceover. He was grandpa in the first to fifth national tours of Dr. Seuss. So he's done a few things. Yeah. What's interesting though about this is if you look at a picture of David Howard Thornton next to Art the Clown, they look nothing alike. They look vastly different, and that's obviously down to all the makeup they do. But that guy could easily walk down the high street and not get recognized. I believe no one would have any clue he was Art the Clown if they didn't know.
Oh no, for
who
sure.
He was.
I mean, like we said, Art himself his face is a lot more manipulated than the normal human being face. Especially the fact he technically with the cowl on, he's bald. Art, without the hat. David Thornton is not. He
That is
doesn't
true.
have an elongated nose or a fucked up grin
Nope.
and fucked up cheekbones. I think he could get away with not being recognized.
Yeah, quite easily. Well, as I just, I'm currently scrolling through the pictures on IMDb of Terrifier 2, and some of them are grim.
God. Towards the end, obviously, this whole episode, we haven't really divulged too much in shot for shot and what happens in the plot. So, hoping you've seen the film. Towards the end, the final act where they arrive at the theme park. Should we say the haunted house is called Terrifier?
Yeah, that's right.
That was quite interesting because I felt like that needed a bit more attention as to, holy shit, this is called Terrifier. So is there any significance as to the title of the film and this haunted house, this nightmare ride? Like, are you going to give us something? Maybe we go back here because this place was massive as well. This Terrifier haunted house.
Oh yeah,
it felt like an
huge.
endless, abandoned old sort of like a factory. I mean, it wasn't, but it felt like that. There were corridors leading everywhere. There were stairs. The scene that we saw in the clip we saw in the trailer of the horrible toilets, and who we didn't know at the time, but we now know. Brooke on the floor crawling. I believe it was Brooke. And Art just slowly crawling, slowly walking behind her, coming around the corner. Fantastically shot scene. It's terrifying. Him just slowly coming round, like Brooke's demise is just slowly walking behind her, and her demise is pretty bad.
Yeah, I would probably say if you were to rank the deaths in this film, it would probably go. Number one would be Ali because nothing could top that.
Without doubt.
Number two probably would be Brooke, I reckon, because her demise is pretty not as hardcore as Ali's, but again, it's up there in terms of you wouldn't if you went out that way, you'd be in a lot of pain.
Yeah.
I have this scene has one of my goofs in it, which we'll get to in a second.
I think you've been in a lot of pain through all the deaths.
Yes, probably.
Yeah.
Probably number three I would reckon is most likely the costume guy. He got decapitated pretty harshly.
I think
but apart from that,
quite high.
Oh yeah, the mortician.
The one you don't
maybe
remember.
Maybe the mortician above the. Oh my god, yeah, the mortician one actually, yeah. I mean, yeah, probably the mortician, then the costume guy, and then the mother. Oh, the mother actually. The mother had her face. Sienna's mother dies because she has her face blown off with a shotgun.
Yep, it's a good head explosion.
So I mean, at least that was quick. Let's be honest. We don't know how Ali's mother dies, but again, she's decapitated at some point, so who knows? And then it's probably the what's his name, the laundrette guy, because he gets a spike through his head.
He gets the broom.
So I'd probably say those are the deaths.
Broom handle through
the broom handle.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
You've also got Brooke's boyfriend, who gets his penis completely ripped off.
God. It stabs.
That's pretty brutal.
I'm surprised I forgot that one.
Don't forget about that.
Oh yeah, just the tip. That was it.
Just the tip.
That was great. Just the tip.
Just the tip.
But it's Brooke again, though. Does she try to fight back? I believe she does. She tries to hold her own.
Yeah, I believe she does. Not as well, obviously, as Sienna towards the end, but
no. Ultimately, she does. Well, ultimately, she fails because what happens to her.
Yeah.
But this is, in fact, where my first trivia bit comes in. The first goof that actually happens in this film.
Okay.
And you would only notice this if you were very well versed in chemistry, I guess. So when Art leaves the morgue, he takes a load of items from the mortician, to fill his bag of tricks in. And one of the things he picks up a big a glass of liquid.
Yeah.
And he puts it in, he looks at it and he walks away. When he's attacking Brooke, he throws it in her face.
Yeah,
that's what he uses. Now, someone actually managed to take it. So I had to take a sip. My throat is going all over the rails. Someone managed to see what the label on the liquid was, and it was acid that he throws in. Well, it's an acid in Brooke's face. It is, because it starts to it melts her face to pieces. But someone worked it out, and the label is, now I'm going to say this wrong, fluoroantimonic acid. That's what the acid is. The issue that they found with this is this is the world's strongest acid in existence. Mm-hmm. It will eat through anything. It even eats through glass, which is where the problem is, because it's being held in this glass container, which wouldn't be possible. It's a really powerful acid, and pretty much they basically said even if antimonic
super acid,
it's the super acid. So pretty much, even if it was able to be contained in the glass container, the second that would have hit at Brooke's face, it would have been game over for her. But there you go. There's your first goof of Terrifier 2. There is another one in this film, but it was very carefully hit. I don't know if it was. I think they left it in just because Lavera managed to carry on with the scene without anyone noticing it. I thought it was really cool. But we'll get to that in a minute.
Get to what are you doing now?
All right. So the second goof, it's not really a goof, but it's more of an unscripted moment where there's a moment where Sienna and her mother are having a talk. Basically, this is the morning after Sienna's room catches fire. She has a nightmare. Everything catches fire. They all wake up at like 4 a.m. and put it out. Mm-hmm. And Sienna goes to get a cup of coffee. And she's drinking this cup of coffee. And as she does so, she actually spills a bit of her coffee out, and it goes onto her jumper. And she looks down, and she sort of looks around trying to find this coffee and brushes it off, and then gets back to the scene and keeps on talking. That coffee spill was not intentional. It wasn't in the scene. It just happened. So she actually spilt the coffee, looked down, went, "Oh, I can't find it," and then just carried on. It's a great unscripted moment that happened in the film.
You get a lot of ad-lib bits like that where it just minor accidents. You may as well just phone it and keep going with it.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was brilliant.
Like one scene we should probably talk about before we start wrapping up is the dream sequence.
That was
the clown
bizarre.
Cafe. Yeah, very bizarre. Which apparently they filmed before
the banjo player.
Yeah, they apparently filmed. That was one of the first things they filmed before they shut down. Then regrouped and started filming again. But that was a very bizarre.
So we got teased with this in the trailer, and this is one of the ones where we couldn't work out what was going on, because obviously you get to see in the trailer, you see Art doing some sort of weird game show, TV show, and all these people are like, here's Art the clown. The banjo player announces him dressed as a clown, and of course we were thinking, well, this has either got to be some weird flashback to before Art was a killer, or it's a dream sequence, or I don't know, something is happening. And obviously we do then find out that this is a dream sequence that Sienna has. Well, or nightmare, I guess you could call it for her.
Yes. Sorry, I didn't realize you would stop talking. Yes.
Sorry, I had to stop. My throat was getting a bit off the wall.
Right. It's a very obscure scene. It seems to be like a television studio, like they're filming an episode, shall we say, of the Clown Cafe. You've got what look to be young adults, very elderly teens, acting like they're kids in a playground. But Sienna's there with them, and it really feels like she is aware of what's happening. She looks worried. She looks scared. Whereas these other kids are seeming to be completely out of it and just acting like little kids. as it's meant to be. It's meant to give that tone of like a children's daytime show, because you've got the banjo player singing a children's song. I can't remember how it goes. You've got the camera guys behind them shooting it. Then Art appears in the like food van, giving all the smiles, all the waves, but she seems to be coherent. She seems to be very scared and very anxious of what's going on, because she's kind of aware of Art, but it's kind of like she's now involved in it. She's in it. She's experiencing it. Yet it's still a dream. Very weird, very obscure scene.
Yeah.
That ends in a complete brutal massacre, of course, because it's Art and it's Terrifier. Yeah, which we do get called back to later on, where Sienna is fighting Art back and forth, and she gets, again, obscure. She gets dragged into hell, maybe into another world. She gets sucked into the ground, another world. Which that basement area of the Terrifier ride, which she falls into, really reminded me of the end of House of 1,000 Corpses, where the final girl is dropped down into the cave to then find Dr. Satan working on one of her friends, like doing the experiments. And it just reminded me of that, because then she escapes and then Sienna escapes. It was weird. It's like it's another world underground, like another dimension.
Yeah. It's that the cafe scene. I was trying to remember how that song goes. That's going to bug me out. I'm going to have to look it up.
Goes. Yeah.
It's something about food down at the clown cafe, but there you go. I'm sure it'll resurface somewhere. And it's obviously we're now discussing this clown cafe, and obviously we thought when we watched the trailer it could be a flashback. I'm now actually thinking it could potentially be a weird flashback. So obviously we don't know much about Art's backstory. We have zero clue as to what he does. So potentially, I think it might be quite interesting if Art the Clown was a TV personality. Perhaps he was before something happened to this lad, and he became, the sadistic killer that he was. Maybe under a different, set of makeup or whatever. This is what he did as a day job. That could be an interesting twist, I reckon. And the one of the bit in this little clown cafe is where the boy's eating the cereal.
Yeah, that was in the trailer as well.
And it's like in every box there's a surprise, and you see the box and you're looking and thinking, there are razor blades, there is sharp stuff in there, and he just scoops a bit out of his mouth, and you can just hear him crunching it as the blood just seeps out, and that made my teeth hurt. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, it's horrible. But again, it's for a Terrifier film now. It just works.
Yeah, it does. So I got as well another section on my notes, just probably the last section actually. Basically, just saying what's next, right? I would like a hell of a lot more info on the sword. The sword is a key item / MacGuffin in the whole film. You don't get much info on it. It's part of her costume, but it's also been, I think it was passed down through her dad, mysterious dad character who has passed away that we still don't know much about, but they keep dropping bits in here and there about him. He's a very important character, even though he's dead. And this was it's like a sword / dagger. It's about 2 foot long, maybe. Maybe not long enough to be a sword, maybe not too short.
Yeah, it's like a Roman sword, isn't it?
Yeah, too big to be a dagger. But this really has some significance to Art. A lot of significance to Art. And we're not really explained why yet. So I'd like a little bit more backstory, at least on that.
Yeah, hopefully they are, he's busy writing away the Terrifier 3, and I think he needs to start giving more information on Art, to be fair, because let's face it, we haven't actually had an origin story for Art, surprisingly. At no point in the first film or the second film has any reference to why he does what he does been made, which, to be fair, is is quite nice, actually. If they never reveal it, you effectively could turn around and say, well, how do you think he got started? And you might think, well, okay, I believe he was a well-known TV clown that got fired and went nuts. Or you could just imagine that he's always been sadistic. Doesn't, each their own. Or he is some long-lost father to Art and... not to Art, to Jonathan and Sienna. I think that might be quite cool, but I think if he is going to release more about Art and now Sienna, because let's face it, she's some sort of supernatural connection, they're going to have to do it. Because the one thing I don't want is for these films to keep on going and going without them having an end point. Because obviously sequelitis happens regardless, but hopefully they will, I don't know, maybe they do Terrifier 3, Terrifier 4, and they say, right, that's it. That's your whole Terrifier lot. Here you go.
Yeah, that's why I really hope he's got it down to a T as to how he's going to end the whole story. No matter how many films it's going to be, as long as he knows how it's going to end. The problem we had like this with the new Star Wars sequels, they didn't plan for the free. They knew they were going to do 3 films, but they didn't plan the story for 3 films. They had planned for 7, and then it was a case of right. Then we work out the next film. You can't do that especially with such a big franchise like that, because that's what happened with Rise of Skywalker, where it was absolute dog shit. You need to really plan and work on a coherent story that has a start, middle, and end. Whether it be 3 films, you split the story in 3 films. Whether this be 4 films, you start it, you have a middle, a couple of films, and you end it in a big old mental bloodbath at the end, where we get not a full backstory, but we get some sort of explanation to a couple of things that just ties it up in a nice little package.
I reckon I potentially can see Sienna and Jonathan tracking down his past, maybe in the next film, to kind of understand who he is a bit more. I reckon potentially that's what they'll do. But we gotta wait. We have to wait and see if it comes out.
There'll be a hell of a lot more involved now, because obviously half of this film, Sienna didn't believe Jonathan. Jonathan was the one really trying to push to Sienna and other people that something's not right here. We need to look into Art the Clown, and everyone was brushing him aside, pulling him off. And now the fact Sienna is way involved and way in the know that Art exists. They're gonna I think they're gonna be doubling down on the research point of view.
I reckon so. And that'll be interesting. I think it'll be interesting to see. So hopefully we won't have to wait too long for Terrifier 3, but obviously the first Terrifier came out, was it 2016? It was quite a while ago.
I think
let's have a look. Terrifier 2016. So
you also
to be fair, I reckon if the pandemic hadn't hit, we probably would have had this about 2 years ago.
That's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing. There was a lot of complications in the way. Even though the budget on Terrifier 2 was a lot higher, that probably affected things as well with shooting and timing. The budget will probably be significantly higher for Terrifier 3, especially the fact they've made over $10 million. It won't be majorly high, but I'm sure they'll increase it no matter what.
Both Terrifier and Terrifier 2 were self-funded by Indiegogo and Kickstarter. Which just makes it even better, the fact that they've made a horror film that people are still talking about, and they made it without the backing of a gigantic studio.
Yep.
And they've gone on to gross well over $970,000 worth of profit, which is insane. No, more than that, $9 million.
$9 million.
My maths is terrible.
It's made over $10 million. Terrifier 2 has made over $10 million. I know it's over. I'm not sure the exact amount, but I know it's over $10 million.
So they've made about £9 million and £50,000 of profit, which is insane. But
Yeah.
you know,
And if there was a studio backing, a lot of restraints would have been put on the film. You probably wouldn't have got Ali's brutal scene. That would have been cut down significantly. I mean, to be fair, this is, even without the studio backing, this is probably why the film hasn't been released in cinemas. A lot of indie films don't get released in cinemas as well, because they can't afford to release it in cinemas. Like it costs money to release films in cinemas. But they clearly made their money back. They've clearly proved a lot of skeptics wrong, and let's hope they can keep doing it with Terrifier 3, which I think will be early 2024.
Yeah, I reckon so. It hopefully, obviously, there won't be any more lockdowns, because quite frankly, I don't think anyone will take it. No. So yeah, fingers crossed they get filming and they crack on. I've just seen the poster for All Hallows Eve, the first film that Art the Clown appears in, and he looks vastly different. Obviously, it's a different actor, but even
it's a different actor.
Yeah, it's a different actor, but the costume as well is remarkably different.
Yeah.
But yeah, go check that out. Go look at the All Hallows Eve posters and Terrifiers, and I mean, obviously you can tell the difference. So yeah. The one last thing I did notice is, did you notice in certain scenes of this film, it seemed to have like an 80s filter over it? Or was that just me? Like a little grainy kind of effect.
Yeah, and that was something we noted with Terrifier 1. It has that sort of gritty, grainy... it's very slight, it's very subtle.
It did.
Filter over the top. Yeah. And it gives that grindhousey indie, I guess, it is, a feel to it. And I think that really adds to it. That really adds to the impact of the film. If this was shot, I think this probably was shot in digital, but if this was shot fully digital with no effects, it wouldn't have that. It would still be a horror, but there would be something missing. And I think it needs this gritty, grimy effect to really add to Art's character. I think it really helps with that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh, excuse me.
Bless you.
Well, so which one would you say you would? So which one, out of Terrifier and Terrifier 2, which one did you think was the better one so far?
Well, we actually talked about it in the first part of this episode, where we recorded it about 3 months ago. I said that I prefer, this is a better film. This right here.
Yeah.
This right here, Terrifier 2 is a better film, but Terrifier 1 is a better horror film.
Yeah.
If you're looking for just pure horror, Terrifier 1 ramps it up. I think because of the small amount of cast, it feels a lot more isolated, because you're in just that one big abandoned building. It's darker, it's grittier. There's a lot more horror, shall I say, scenes. For instance, where he's what's her name? Vicky is running scared. She hides, and then she can see Art naked running around with the face of one of his victims. There's a lot more horrific scenes rather than just absolutely over the top grotesque gore scenes like in Terrifier 2 in a brightly lit room. You know, it's a lot more scary, I'd say, to a new viewer.
Yeah.
But this is a much better film. It's more highly produced. It's more highly edited. The effects top the first one. There's more of a story. There's just more. So yeah.
Nice. All right then. Well, that's pretty much. I think I'm kind of on the same. It's Terrifier is much more straightforward slasher horror.
Yeah.
You know, they go in, they go, here's your slasher, here's the victims. He's going to, torment them. He's going to torture them, and it works. And again, it's all filmed pretty much in one location so Terrifier, I think it has 2 locations. It's got the cafe and the abandoned building. But again, if you want to look at Terrifier 2, it's a better horror comedy film, because there's way more comedy moments in this film.
Yeah, this is what.
And again, it's Yeah. So I would say, in terms of genres, Terrifier is a horror. Terrifier 2 is a horror comedy, mixed in with some sort of like spaghetti, not spaghetti. Is it splatter ones? Something like that. Splatter, more of a splatter gore type of film as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, it's way more gory than Terrifier.
Yeah, absurdly amount. Yeah.
Yeah. Terrifier 3 may as well just be like, yep, you can expect to see gore in every single scene because we had to top Terrifier 2. Okay, right, cool. Let's get on with it. Come on then.
Although they're probably going to get to a point where it's a bit overkill if they keep doing it. You kind of want to stick to at a certain gore level, because it could get to the point where it's overkill, like Dead Alive. Well, that fits with that film, but you don't want to be to the point where people are just, okay, I could take gore, but this is too much and it doesn't really fit. It doesn't work. You're just doing it for the sake of gore now. You're not, there's no context behind the gore.
I reckon, yeah. That's probably why, I reckon that may be why they did the bedroom scene. They went so far, not over the, well, yeah, so gory with it, probably to see, right, okay, that's the maximum we can get to. Because any more than that, they'll be like, this is just horrendous. But they know they can go lower than that and still maintain the interest.
Yeah.
Ooh, go.
Right. Until we start coughing and being ill and your internet dies again, let's get the hell out of here.
Let's wrap up.
Let's wrap this shit up.
I don't think I can talk for much longer.
That's fine. So,
oh dear.
This wonderful podcast and all our past content, podcast related, you can find on Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Amazon Audible, Podbean, and YouTube, all by searching The Dreadcast. And as far as YouTube, you can also find our other content, such as the trailer breakdowns we've been doing, and some video game let's plays, and something I added tonight, which was we're starting to do some little short clips, and this is just a nice little short little video clip about you talking about your new figure collection. So I'm going to try and add a few more here and there, just some nice little shorts, some more content for the YouTube channel. So go check all that out. And as far as our socials,
yes, you can find me
I'm leaving that one
at
to you.
thank you, Tainted Souls. I'm on Instagram. I'm also on Twitter. You can find me at Tainted Souls as well. You can also, oh god, well, I'm not dying.
Come on, you're nearly done.
Find us on TikTok at the Dreadcast. Find us on TikTok there. So do go and check them out. All those lovely bits and pieces. And you can even email us at thedreadcastpodcast@gmail.com. Just send us anything. We'll reply to anything. I haven't checked in a while, but I will do. Don't worry.
Yep, and there's also the Instagram.
Now. You do yours, I'm going to check.
The Instagram for the podcast at the Dreadcast, and my Twitter is right there. You can just see it. And if you're an audio listener, it's Tomzilla, TOMZILLA. And I do believe that is it. Next time, we'll be dabbling into the reboot, the second reboot. I think they already tried. I think Bloodlines. I think Bloodlines was the first attempt to reboot of the Hellraiser franchise. I'm not overly 100% sure on that, but this is the 2022 reboot of the Hellraiser franchise, and we will be looking into that next time.
It was quite good.
Yeah, surprisingly quite good. Not shit, not great. It was good.
No. Yeah, it was good.
It was good.
All right then.
So until next time.
Stay spooky or creepy.
Yeah, I was expecting a cough at the end there.